Today's guest is a serial entrepreneur. She's been recognized by the New York Times, by the Daily Post, by Huffington Post. She was named Brooklyn's favorite entrepreneur by Elle magazine. And if you are an entrepreneur, an emerging entrepreneur, a woman who is interested in entrepreneurship, you probably come across her on Instagram, and is the CEO of Womanore, Sharon Beason. And I'm really, really excited to have her on. I see her just joined, so I'm going to, let's see, how do I request her in here? Here we go. She just sent me a request. So we are going to loop her in. Here we go. Here we go. To hop in and we could get started. And this was going to be a hey, beautiful. I know. We figured it out.
Holy shit.
We got it.
I'm here.
Yes, you are here, baby. All right, let me just pin this comment real quick, and then we can go ahead and get started. Just pin this. Boom. Okay, now we are in business. So check this out, right? I was like, ooh, I'm talking to Sharon today. I got to come to New York.
That's Shakira.
You know, I'm looking at Sharon, who is a native Brooklynite. I'm from Queens. And I say, you know what? Today is the day. I've been waiting for the day when I would rock my fitted. And today is the day when I'm talking to Sharon.
It looks good though, Victoria. I'm absolutely digging it. 100%. Trust and believe.
I knew you would appreciate it. That's why I said, today's the day. Today is the day I'm bringing it out. But I am so excited to have you on the series, and shout out to everybody in here. You know, I've been a fan of yours for quite some time, and I just love your no BS attitude, your no beating around the bush, give it to you straight with no chaser. And you're like that bestie that everyone needs in their life, that is the kind of reality checker, you know? Like that one that will come to you and be like, oh no, honey, you're doing it all wrong. I'm sorry. I cannot let you continue on like this. And that's how I know folks are going to enjoy this conversation. So there's so much that I want to make sure to share with the folks on this live and those that watch it afterwards, because you have a really, really interesting story. So I would love to talk about where you started and how you became a serial entrepreneur.
Wow. Y'all got time tonight? You know what though, you know, to wrap it up in a cute little bundle, right? My background is corporate. So, you know, I did accounting, right? I went to school for accounting, got my degree in accounting, sat and passed all 4 parts of the CPA exam. And so people would always be baffled when I said I was an accountant, right? And I was a damn good one. So I had a really good job, don't get me wrong. Went from bookkeeper to senior accountant, right? But this job where I was, it ran my entire life. I was in the office even when I didn't want to be in the office, right? And plus they had satellite offices. So at one point I was literally living out of my suitcase. So fast forward, I realized I wanted to get the hell out of corporate, right? So
yes, I know the
I didn't even plan. Listen, back then, let me tell you, if what exists now was back then, I would have did things differently. But I knew that I wanted to be my own boss, right? And so I started thinking about, what am I good at, right? I was always the go-to person for what was happening in Brooklyn, what was going on. I was Little Miss Socialite, right? Every Friday I would send out an email to my friends, this is where I'm going to be this weekend, join me or not, right? So what was I going to become? And so at that time, Victoria, Brooklyn was booming. When I say booming, there was no skyline in downtown Brooklyn, right? And so I kept racking my brain. What can I be? What can I be? So at first I thought to do something that had to do with like letting you know everything about what's going on in Brooklyn. And so when I started doing some research, concierge company came up. And when I kind of looked that up, I was like, wait a minute, I could run errands. I could do grocery shopping. So that's when I launched my very first business called All About Brooklyn Concierge. And that still puts money, food on my table to this day, right? And so I learned, I didn't have a mentor or a coach, or these plethora of resources available now weren't available to me. My resource was SCORE, right? SCORE, and this is where I learned to become extremely resourceful, because I learned a lot of shit on my own, not to mention I made a crap load of mistakes, right? Yeah. So fast forward, I launched this concierge company, and which, you know, now it's very sustainable. It's self-sustainable. I have freelancers, I have people on, you know, payroll. And then I launched a website called Brooklyn Exposed. Now think New York, think Time Out New York of Brooklyn, right? And I ran that for 4 years. I hosted food tasting events and drink tasting events, you know, and I became recognized in local newspapers and the New York Times and the Daily News for that. Cool, but I had to hang my hat up with that, right? It was just a lot of work that went into that. And not only that, it was just a lot staying on top of the editors and the bloggers and sending people here and sending people there. So I realized my heart wasn't there. So I hung that up after 4 years. And so I still have my concierge company, like I said, which is self-sustainable, right? So I literally started racking my brain again. Now, when I say I was literally twiddling my thumbs one day, I literally was. And I said, what can I do next? So I hadn't realized I had learned all this knowledge, right? And so I started doing my research. I started looking online. Instagram was starting to pick up. Twitter was huge. I was known as a Twitter queen, believe it or not. And I started looking at brands, right? I started looking at brands. I started looking at their websites. And I always say this, I started seeing the crazy, right? And crazy meant the crazy looking logos, the crazy looking branding, the crazy looking marketing collateral. And I literally said, holy shit, I know business. I know what it's like to show up to the world in a way where people will say, wow, I want to do business with that person. Right. Right. And so then Womener was born, right? But Womener, believe it or not, Womener, I didn't like the name at first. I went on to Freelancer. I had all sorts of names, right? And so I went on to Freelancer, and this guy had literally just signed up for an account on Freelancer. And I said, I need a name for, I gave him some words. Boom, he came up with Womener. I wasn't in love with it. And then when I shared it with a few close colleagues, they were like, what? What? Like, you need to trademark that name right away. And so da-da, Womener was born, right? And I realized I am going to teach emerging and early stage women to avoid the bullshit mistakes that I did. And fast forward 5 years, here we are.
But you've been in business and entrepreneur for more than that, for like at least 10 years, right?
Yeah, since 2006, right? Because my first company I launched in 2006 while I was still working, right? And I quit 2 years into that. So, but you know, I'll tell anyone, don't quit. Don't get just one customer, like work a few years, right? Build your bag, right? Secure your bag and then leave, right? So, yeah, I learned so many hard lessons, Victoria. It was, it's time for me to write another book. Seriously.
What's your hardest lesson?
Oh my goodness. I don't even want to break out in tears. Let me tell you this. So I tell you, when I say Brooklyn was booming, Brooklyn was booming. And so many high-risers were going up. Downtown Brooklyn's skyline was literally being built, right, and developed. And so I did concierge. So my goal was to offer concierge at these residential establishments, right? So I know all of them. I saw the waterfront to Williamsburg being developed downtown. So I'm not even going to call this company out, but they are the largest residential developers in the United States, right? And I had a meeting with them. They wanted me to offer concierge to their development that was going up in downtown Brooklyn. I'm super excited. At this time, I had a mentor, right? I had a mentor, someone who had a proven track record in what I was doing at the time, right? And so I called her up. I was just like, holy shit, right? I had to get bonding in place, you know, properly, right? Get more bonding insurance. I had to make sure my T's were crossed and my I's were dotted. And I didn't know how to do a proposal for residential development. Finally did it, put it out there. I was just like, holy shit, like this business is so, what's that word? If you do it right, this type of business can become a cash cow, right? And so I sent in the proposal. Mm-hmm. So I kept following up. Then they kept telling me, adjust this, adjust that, adjust this. I gave them everything. I gave them how I was going to break it down, how I was going to work with them, what time, what I was going to have them wear. I mean, I gave them all my inside secrets. Because when you're sending a proposal, you're kind of vulnerable, right? But can you believe 2 weeks later, they come back to me and they say they have decided upon a business to work with. Now, I was in the runnings with someone else that I knew was also doing this, right? But they didn't know we knew each other. They told her the same story. A month later, I found out they went ahead and did their own thing.
With your ideas. Wow.
When I tell you, I was in tears. Even to this moment, I don't even want to get emotional. That hurt to the core. Mm-hmm. But you know what? It only made me stronger and wiser. And it said, you know what? I was wide open, completely vulnerable when I gave that to them. And I gave them all my secrets. And I even gave them my spreadsheet where they could see how I broke down the formula and how I come up with my budget. I mean, it was very robust. And I said, never again am I ever going to do that. And so I reworked it where when I send the proposal in, right, they get all the information that I felt was necessary to make a decision, mm-hmm. right? And I said, going forward, whenever that happened, right, I was never going to let myself be vulnerable again to that. And so I cut that down, sharpened the proposal, and made it in a sense where if they wanted to consult with me and ask me more questions or anything of that nature, I charged a fee, mm-hmm. right? And so, that was a hard lesson. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Yeah, especially because, you know, that was your first business. You were so excited to have this major developer come to you. So yes. I could imagine you were just like, whatever you need. Yes, let's do it. Whatever you need. Whatever you need.
Yes. And you know what?
A lot of women do that. Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? I learned from that day to never lower my standards, because you know what? And also a recession was starting to happen, right? So their budget kept getting smaller, because by the time I finally got a goddamn meeting, right, the recession started to hit it, to appear. And their budget just kept getting smaller and smaller. And I had to keep going to rework my proposal. And I even went to the bottom line where I wasn't even walking away with profit. Wow. It was crazy. And that's how desperate I was. Never again. I would never, at that point, I said, I'm never lowering my standards. I'm never doing a business with anyone where I have to compromise my ethics, mm-hmm. my feel good, right? And so I walked away a strong, wise woman. So I thank them, actually, you know, to this day.
Imagine what you learned from that experience. And I want everybody in here who just listened to this powerful story to write, have standards.
Yes.
I think a lot of women in particular, and just new entrepreneurs in general, they are so thirsty. They are so thirsty to get some money. They are so thirsty for opportunity that they find themselves doing things that are really putting them at a disadvantage.
Yes.
They're not making any money. People are taking their ideas, or they're just taking advantage of, period.
Yes, period. You know, and not only standards, but your business boundaries. You got to have these business boundaries, you know, where you run the show. Because to piggyback off what you said, so many people, and listen, I've been there, so I could recognize it, right? You know that saying, it takes one to know one? Trust and believe, it takes one to know one. So what I see it happening everywhere, online, offline, with my clients, you know, in strategy sessions. You must be in a space where you are running the show. You are calling the shots, right? And this is where it's going to have to take you to stand tall and let everyone else bend, right? Even if you have to walk away from this contract or this proposal or this amazing opportunity. Don't do it, ladies. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? If you stand for nothing, you're going to fall for everything.
Yes.
So even if it hurts, right? Whether it's a day later, a week later, a month later, you're going to see you did it for the right reasons, and trust and believe something else, because you're pushing away the bullshit. The positive shit is going to drop right in your lap. So hold your ground and put up those business boundaries, please.
Yes,
it's for your best interest in the long run, right?
Somebody said, shout out the company that did that to you. Let's put them on blast.
I'm not calling them out, you know, it isn't me to, you know, because you know what?
Sharon, she's a straight shooter.
Yes.
Classy, all right, don't get it twisted.
You know what I'm saying? My cup runneth over. My cup runneth over. Okay, listen. That well might dry out one day. I don't know, but I don't want to have anything to do with that.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about, like, what are some of those watch outs? Because going through that experience, I'm sure you had some cues now moving forward, and you said you see this all the time. So what are some things people should look out for, like when they find themselves in that type of position? Like, what is happening? What is the other person asking them for? What are some things they should just watch out for?
Yeah, you know what? Before I dive into that, that's an excellent question, because that's something, Victoria, everyone should know, right? Even when you're doing business with someone, it doesn't matter how small it is. I literally just did a post similar to this on my personal page, right? There's different types of customers, right? You got the ones that's looking. Okay, they're there, right? You can catch them on social media, right? They're just there for the ride because you're giving out some information. They're just there looking, right? Then you have the ones that probe. They may ask a few questions, right? And then you have the ones that are really interested. They're going to go in for the buy, right?
Right.
And so this particular individual, this particular company that I was going back and forth with was doing just that, right? When I look back, I realized, first of all, they had 1,000,001 questions, right? You have to be confident in the information that you are providing to know that when you do give that information, this person can make an informed decision, right? And so this individual kept asking me all of these questions, then wanted me to feel bad about their budget, right? So then I kept lowering my price. They kept whining and moaning about their budget. It was all about accommodating them. Do not accommodate people unless you know you are going to move forward. Do not start accommodating people until they show you the money. Like, seriously, right? And or unless you know it's for a sure shot. And so then they said, after that, they were like, okay, we're going to go talk to a few other people, right? So be very mindful of those, because a lot of the times, especially if it's a big ticket price, people are watching you. So when someone finally comes to you with a big ticketed price that you have, or high priced offer that you have, trust and believe they've been watching you. They have been observing you. They've been asking their foes, their colleagues, and everything. So when you see them trying to wrangle you, or they don't sound sure of themselves, these are the times when you have to watch out, and then you have to pull back. You don't step in to try and pressure them or try and prove them that you are the one. They know you're the one, and that's why they're there, right? But a lot of people want you to fold and bend and appease them. So if you see people hee-hawing, then they start questioning your goddamn pricing. You knew goddamn well what my prices were. Stop it, right?
Exactly.
You know, so it's all of those little things mixed up into one, or then you find yourself having to keep following up with them, right? Then you know they're not interested. They're not interested. But you have to know to catch those red flags from the beginning. So what you need to do is set some more boundaries, right? Okay, you know what? I'm going to have 3 discussions with this person, or I'm going to take them after the proposal. I'm going to follow up with them 2 more times. If I don't hear from them, okay, maybe a third time. You got to set your protocol, because someone's either going to buy after you present, or they don't. That's it. You know, and then follow up with them maybe 3 months later. Like, have a funnel, have a process, you know?
Right. And I want everybody in here to now write protocol, because I think that's another area of opportunity for a lot of entrepreneurs. Is a lot of them are winging it, and they're trying to go with the wind fabulous, and they need to have structure. They need to have protocol, and they need to be very clear on what it is you are willing and not willing to do. and stick to your guns, or else you're gonna get taken advantage of. Like,
That's
it's
it.
a world out there full of vultures, and they will come and eat
Woo.
you up. They will eat you up.
They full of shit. The world is full of bullshitters. That's what
That
the
too,
bullshit
honey.
vultures.
That too. And all they want to do is talk. All they want to do is talk.
Yes,
Talk.
that's it. And
Yes.
you know what? Also, women, please listen to your intuition. That alarm, that inner alarm is going off for a reason. Trust
Right.
and believe. You are being guided by your spiritual inner self. Please listen to it. Please.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shut that shit down and then go ask your friend who hasn't done a lick of business. Oh, girl, you know what? That's a great deal. Go get him. No. Come to me. I'll be like, no, bitch. What are you doing?
No.
Right, exactly. So you got to listen to that intuition. Energy does not lie. Listen to yourself, you know?
Right. So I wanted to talk to you about, by the way, before I ask you this question, do you know that you and I both went to Baruch and graduated from Baruch?
Really?
Yes.
Oh
I
my
checked out your
God.
LinkedIn and I was like, oh, we both went
Yes.
to Baruch.
Yes.
That's why.
Yes. Wow, that's so cool. And you know, I was
Yes.
just there because I went back to do, I was in there like, I forget the name of it, their mentoring program. It was like an 8-week program. So I was able to go back and, you know, mentor some students. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. What did you study there?
Yeah. Finance. I studied
Oh, wow.
and undergrad was political science. And I actually started my career on Wall Street. So I did sales and
Really?
trading for a few years. Yeah.
Ah, so you're a money gal. Okay.
Girl, from day one. From day
Yes.
one,
Get that money.
Okay.
Listen, I hope y'all are buying those stocks on sale, okay?
Okay, talk about it. Yes.
What?
I hope a lot of you got in on Netflix because, boy, whoever
What?
got Netflix and Disney Plus stock, you winning right now.
I'm telling you, so many stocks just went down, like, just real quick. Right, I logged into my account, and it never happens. You know this, right? That you don't see the numbers fluctuating right in front of your face. Like, the numbers were, like, literally fluctuating. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So for everybody who got their stimulus check, instead of going to buy a bag, instead of going to Fashion Nova,
Please.
go get yourself some stock, okay?
Yes, please. TD Ameritrade, that's what I recommend.
I'm at Fidelity, but
Okay,
I don't want to do it. Okay, so my next question for you, you made the transition from corporate into entrepreneurship, and I want to talk about your attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have this attitude of, you know, you don't take shit from anyone, you give it to it straight. And I want to know, when you were in corporate, did they try and dim your light at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, it's funny you asked me that because when I first, I noticed it from day one, right? Listen, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm a smart mother effer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a smart, intelligent minded. I'm a big picture thinker, right? I'm a logical thinker. And so,
I mean, in my book, that's
yes.
okay.
Well, thank you, right? You know, thank you. So I saw it from the beginning when my very first firm, without going into too much detail, let's just say they gave the other people my role, my task, and didn't know what they were doing. And these individuals were coming to me. Do you know how I mean, to this day, you know, they say you can forget what someone says, but you never forget how you feel. To this day, I still feel that. Do you know what I mean? And I went to HR. I learned so many things from in my 20s and from corporate world, standing up for myself. And so I went to HR and I made a complaint about it, right? And but I wound up leaving that firm eventually because it kind of got awkward. I was still young. And then fast forward to the firm that I was at before I quit. I was there for years. Now, my hair wasn't in locks, right? And so it's just a whole bunch of things that happened. Even growing up with my mother and my sister and seeing certain things, I promised myself no one was ever going to disrespect me. This is what I promised myself. And I literally did research on what it was like to not be disrespected, like literally, right? And so when I was at this firm that I loved, by the way, my hair was out natural, right? Now it's in locks, right? You know, my hair was defying gravity, right? And so literally this one woman came to me one day and I forget what she said about my hair, but it wasn't nice. right? And she tried to crack a joke or something like that. And so the way she said it, I knew she had been talking to her colleagues about my hair, which literally was up. When I say up and out, it looked like I stuck my hand, my dentist would say, looked like I stuck my finger in an electric socket. So
Okay. You was rocking that fro proud.
Yes, yes. And so it was almost, and you know, it was a fro, but it was double strand twisted. Then I took it out. So it was like standing up, like literally, right? So
Yeah.
I dared my job at the time to say something. And yes, she said something that was just so spiteful, right? And I forget exactly what she said. But I dealt with that. And then just a lot of things where, you know, people will come into the department and they will come to me, but my boss is really good. You know, I oversaw that department. Now I oversaw 5 people, and she would always defer them to me and say, no, you got to go speak to Sharon. Do you know what I mean? So people try and disempower you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy. You have to learn how to empower yourself, because trust me, 90% of the people that you interact with are going to try and snatch your power away. They really will.
So let's
You know
dig
what
a
I
little deeper on that. So what are some tips that you have for women who find themselves in corporate and experience what you are? They felt like their power was trying to be stripped from them, or they felt like they were degraded, or they felt like they couldn't shine as light as they know they were destined for. What is your advice for them?
You know what? There are several factors that go into that, right? It's a collective of things. Number one, please be at a job that you love, right? Because once you don't love the job, things are going to just start to crumble, right? So please try and find your best to find a job that you love, right? Next, educate yourself, please, on the rules of working in corporate. Understand what your rights are as an employee, right? Understand, go in there with the mental headspace that shit is going to go left. Understand that, right? It's not always going to be roses every single day, right? But you have to be prepared mentally, because shit is going to go sideways, right? So understand your role completely. Understand the people who are above you completely, right? And when you start to feel a certain ways, know that you can go to HR, know that you are in a space to address it, right? Know that you are allowed to speak to someone if they are allowing you to confront them. Know that you have a voice, because oftentimes we land a good job and we're afraid to speak, and oh my God, I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to lose this. But at the end of the day, exercise your rights and let everyone know that you have a voice. Please do not let anyone make you fly off the damn handle. Don't do that, right? Because like I said, go into there before with that mental mindset, knowing, again, it's so important, Victoria, right? What your role is, what everyone else's roles are, who you're reporting to, what your rights are. Please understand your rights, right?
So what are
and
I think that's super helpful, and I hope you are taking notes on this, because the know your rights piece is super, super, super important. And also, not, you know, you have a voice for a reason, so use it. If you feel a way, say something about it for sure. And what are your let's say 5 tips? What are your 5 tips for somebody who's in corporate and wants to become an entrepreneur? What are your 5 tips for them thinking about that transition and making it?
Okay, so now that I have reflected back, right? Because, okay, please don't just up and leave your damn job. Okay, 5 tips. Please be sure, right? Do research. Listen, as long as you are in a sort of like a nest egg of a job, right? You don't feel threatened, that you have some time, right, to do your research. Tip number 1, do your thorough research on the industry that you want to get into, right? If you know people are succeeding in that industry, then you know there's space for you, right? Number 2, understand what the hell you are going to be getting yourself into. You got to get your mind right, right? You got to get into that mental space to know that at some point in time, you got to bust a move. You got to make a move, right? Number 3, understand the monetary impact that this is going to have on you, right? I keep hearing it over and over again, and I think it's the smartest thing you could do. Stay in your job for as long as you can. Build that money. Save your money, right? Understand, and number 4, right? So we're saving number 4. Understand the operating cost it will take to start your business, right? And so you're going to understand your operating costs to start your business when you do your research and your planning for your business. Please do not underestimate this game. Too many of y'all underestimating this game. Whatever you think you need, double that shit, right? Double it, right? However long you think you need, double that, right? Do not say, okay, you know, I'm going to leave by the end of the year. No, you won't. You know, you're going to leave in a year and a half or 2 years. Give yourself time. It's not a rush. So that's my 5th thing. Give yourself time. Do not rush this. Wait, did I say that already? Did I say that as number 1? I can't remember. But take your time. Don't let society, don't let your friends, don't let anyone rush you into this. Build your confidence with this, because then so many people are going to want to get in your ear and give you advice. And trust me, 90% of it will be ill advice. So by educating yourself, you will be empowered that enough to trust your decision and your timing. Is that 5?
Yes. Well, let's give a bonus tip, because I think you alluded to this, which is don't seek out advice from people who haven't done what you are looking to do.
Whew,
I'm saying the blind can't lead the blind. That's not how it works here.
The blind can't lead the blind. The dumb can't lead the dumber. Let's look at it what it is, right? You need to understand this, and you need to understand this quickly. When you are venturing down a path that you have never been down, it will behoove you. It will benefit you. It will be your best ROI, right? Return on your investment. To seek out those who have been down that road or who are walking down that path, right? You don't have to always seek out the best, but seek out people who are as progressive as you, who want to talk about goals, right? Who will support you, who will motivate you, who will encourage you and inspire you, and know what the goddamn hell they're talking about. And no, that's not the girlfriend who's working 9 to 5 and has never picked up an entrepreneur book or has no interest in entrepreneurship. That's not your mother, your brother, your best friend, your cousin, your BFF, whoever. It is those individuals you must actively and intentionally, right? Don't be lazy. Seek those individuals out, right? Seek them out.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely. Which leads me to my next question, because I find that people think this is difficult to do, and it's not. So the Female Collaborative, who is hosting this series, right, is my nonprofit, and we're all about helping women collaborate to make magic together, right? And I find that women overcomplicate that process. Like right now, Sharon and I are collaborating, right? We're collaborating, bringing this to you. And this was nothing that cost me money, didn't cost Sharon money, it cost us time. But we are interested in supporting and collaborating with one another. And so her audience is knowing mine, my audience is knowing her. And so there's win-wins. And so it could be as simple as that. So can you talk to how you have collaborated with women and any advice you have on how women can do more of that together?
I am so glad you brought that up. No, I'm serious, because you know, ever since COVID-19 started, people are doing an excessive amount of lives. Now, I'm not judging anyone, but don't take my words out of context, anyone, right? I have observed people doing an exorbitant amount of lives. Now, in terms of collaborations, right? Yes, in my world, it really is about women's empowerment. Now, I will say this, and I'll answer this in twofold. I received, I can't even count the amount of invites that I received to be part of lives, to be part of summits, to be part of this, and to be part of that. And I posted this on my personal page. And a lot of people think because you're not doing it, because they don't see you doing it, you're not doing it. But I'm in a space now where I could turn a lot of shit down, right? So when people come to you to collaborate and to partner with you and things of that nature. Again, have some standards, have some boundaries, have some criteria, right? I turned a lot of these people down because number one, I've never seen them interact with the women or brand, right? Sliding into my DM, not even as much as a salutation or a greeting. Hi, Sharon. So now I'm like, okay, then you have no shade, right? But then you have like 50 followers, and no, it's not about the follower count, but now I feel like you're going to ride my damn coattail. That's not happening. Do we have history? Do I really feel like you are genuinely interested in this brand? Have we been trying to collaborate? We just never had the chance to, right? So that, number one, is what gets me to say yes, right? And not only that, my time is valuable. So when it comes to collaborating with people, don't be afraid to collaborate with people, right? You got to get out of this broke mindset. Yes, look at it for what it is. Your mindset is broken. If you feel a certain way or feel a jealousy or, oh shit, it's competition, girlfriend, you got to get out of entrepreneurship, right? And so look for brands that are like you, where you share similar target audience, right? Where you really believe their target audience will benefit from you and your target audience will benefit from them. Then look into their branding. Does it align with your branding, right? You can't do business with someone or collaborate with someone who don't have their shit together. You know what I'm saying? You got to look good on the gram. That's just how it is. That's how we attract, right? So the first thing you got to do is attract, right? And then they'll start listening. But nobody's going to start listening if you can't even attract. Attracting is like getting the whistles. Do you get the whistles when you walk down the street? Think of it like that, right? But you got to get it out of your mind that this person is competition and what they're going to gain from it. You know, I hope I'm answering this right? You asked me what to look for in collaborating, right? I'm getting a bit excited ahead of myself. But, right? So those are some of the things. But yet, you know, it really is, you got to look at it where will you guys benefit from this, right? You don't have to tell everyone yes. You really, truly don't. Do you have the time for it? How is it going to benefit you? Don't look at it as monetary. What are you getting out of it? You don't know what you're getting out of it. And not everyone's going to be visible with their thoughts or their opinions or their comments. There may be people here that will look at this, have so many nuggets and takeaways. People are introverts. People get caught up in other stuff. It's not about you. Get over yourself. Right. Do you know what I mean? So you got to start learning to look at the big picture and decide who you're going to do business with and why. And when you do business with people and partner, collaborate, stop looking at it as one-offs. Too many of y'all trying to dip in the goddamn pool and then get out and go in another pool. Start building relationships. You know how long me and Victoria been trying to link up? Do you know what I mean? So, you know, and so we're finally linking up with this, even though we have a little history. We're talking to each other and understanding what we're all about, right? Work on building those goddamn relationships with people you could do business with over and over and over again, repeatedly.
Exactly.
All right, so.
Yes, and now is a great time for you to invest in creating relationships and, more importantly, cultivating those relationships.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Sure. So this is my last question before the gram cuts us off, and you know I can talk to you for hours, girl.
Oh yeah, the gram is quick, like
my
60 minutes.
This is what I ask all of my guests: is why are you a woman who roars?
That's a good question. Number one, I know my shit. I'm being honest with you, right? I mean,
yes.
When I know my shit is wrapped up in a package of, I put my time in, I put my blood, sweat, and tears in. I've compromised, I've sacrificed, I've given. What? I know my shit. Number one, and not only I walk the walk and I talk the talk. And you know, when I say I'm going to get something done, I get it done. When I say I am truly about women's empowerment and what I could do for you, I am here to serve.
Yes.
Right. And so I am that woman who has a voice. And if I see other people don't have a voice, I am there to stand up and have a voice for you. I mean, that's it. And ultimately, the last thing is I am here on this earth. I am here giving this universe my energy so that I can help other women find their power to live and do business authentically. That's it. That is it. I live for that. That before money. All of those things. And the money's coming. Thank the universe for that. But I'm here to serve other women and uplift, motivate, and inspire. And yes, I know my shit. And that's what I'm here to do.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sharon. I know you've
Thank
spoken
you,
to
Victoria.
my soul. You've spoken to all the ladies' soul that tuned in and those that are going to tune in after the replay is up. But I really, really appreciate you and looking forward to creating more magic with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, everyone.